Welcome to News Briefs. Today is Wednesday, August 6th, 2025.
And we begin today with a really significant date,
Mm-hmm.
the 80th anniversary of the atomic bombing in Hiroshima, Japan.
80 years. Wow.
Yeah. And this year's commemoration, it actually saw a record attendance. We had representatives from 120 countries and regions there.
That's a huge turnout. And I heard for the first time delegations from Palestine and Taiwan were present.
That's right.
That feels particularly significant, given the current global climate.
It really does. Absolutely. The key moment, of course, was the minute of silence. That happened at 8:15 in the morning, the exact time of the bombing back in 1945 by the Enola Gay.
Right.
It's chilling when you think about the human cost.
Yeah.
About 140,000 lives lost, just right now.
Unbelievable. So what was the main message coming from Mayor Kazumi Matsui this year?
Well, his peace declaration, it was a really strong call, basically saying we must learn from the past and, crucially, we need to abandon this dangerous idea that nuclear weapons somehow offer security. He expressed deep regret that, the increasing acceptance of armaments, you see it clearly in Ukraine and the Middle East. Well, that's just escalating global tension.
Yeah.
And this call, it really highlights this growing worry worldwide that the old Cold War idea, mutually assured destruction, might be, well, dangerously out of date now.
And that tension, I imagine it's felt very sharply by the Hibakusha, the survivors themselves.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Nippon Hidankyo, that's the survivors group, they voiced some really strong frustration.
So what's their core message? What are they pushing for?
Basically, they think supporting the whole idea of nuclear weapons as a deterrent is just a grave mistake. And, their average age now is over 86.
Wow.
So there's this real profound urgency in their plea for nuclear disarmament. And from the UN side, Izumi Nakamitsu, she's the disarmament chief, she really underlined the urgent need for actual change. She was pretty direct, actually. Called Russia's actions nuclear blackmail and pointed out how the invasion of Ukraine just accelerated this whole arms buildup.
Yeah.
And it's also quite telling that neither Russia nor China attended the main Hiroshima ceremony.
Oh, neither of them.
No. Though, interestingly, Russia apparently plans to attend the Nagasaki commemoration on August 9th. That would be a first since the 2022 invasion.
Okay, well, shifting from those heavy geopolitical tensions, let's turn to the economy. Specifically here in the United States, seems like inflation is raising some eyebrows again.
Indeed it is. We just got the latest Consumer Price Index data. So the year-on-year CPI for June 2025, it rose to 2.7%. That's up from 2.4% in May.
Okay, a noticeable jump.
Yeah. And the core CPI, that's the one that strips out the volatile energy and food prices, gives you a clearer picture of the underlying trend that remains steady at 2.9%.
So mixed signals, but the headline number is ticking up. Could that indicate maybe the start of another upward trend?
It possibly could, yeah. And there's also some speculation that proposed tariffs from President Donald Trump might be contributing to this uncertainty.
And how's the Federal Reserve reacting to all this?
Well, they're being cautious. They kept the benchmark interest rate steady between 4.25% and 4.50%.
Yeah.
This makes it the fifth consecutive time they've held rates.
Fifth time, right.
Yeah. Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman, he basically said policy is, quote, moderately restrictive. And he sees no clear reasons, not yet anyway, to cut rates. Future decisions, he says, will depend on how inflation and employment trends look.
But I understand there might be some disagreement internally within the Fed.
That's right, there is. Mary Daly over at the San Francisco Fed, she suggested a rate cut might actually be needed soon. So, different viewpoints there.
Interesting.
And just to add another layer, Kevin Hassett from the National Economic Council, he voiced some concern about, potential partisan political influence on Fed decisions, which is always a sensitive point for an independent body like the Fed.
Always. And these U.S. economic shifts, they obviously don't happen in a vacuum. They ripple outward, don't they? Especially for countries in Latin America.
Oh, absolutely. They really do. Nations like Argentina and Mexico, they're particularly vulnerable to these kinds of movements, especially given their own existing challenges with exchange rates and inflation. The U.S. Fed's decisions, well, they hit them pretty directly.
Right. So while the sort of traditional economy is looking for balance, the crypto world, always known for its volatility, seems like it's being shaken up now by artificial intelligence.
Exactly. We saw quite a stir recently with the launch of this Chinese AI model, DeepSeek. Bitcoin actually took an initial hit, dropped down to $98,000.
Ouch. But it recovered.
It did, yeah. It recovered somewhat. It's been hovering between, say, $100,000 and $103,200 by. But what's really fascinating is DeepSeek's own prediction. Initially, it projected this staggering 104% increase for Bitcoin in 2025.
104%.
Yep, reaching $210,000 by the end of the year.
That is an incredibly bold forecast. And then what happened?
Well, then the same AI later adjusted its forecast downwards, lowering it to $198,000 by year end. The reason given was headwinds.
Headwinds, okay.
This kind of volatility, even in the AI's predictions, it really underscores a key point. AI can process massive amounts of data, sure, but human-driven markets, they're still incredibly complex, often unpredictable. They're influenced by all sorts of qualitative factors that even these advanced algorithms, well, they struggle to fully grasp.
So the bottom line is, are AI predictions in finance really reliable at this point?
Well, they seem to be about as volatile as the market they're trying to predict. You look at other AIs like Grok. They give these huge ranges for Bitcoin, anywhere from $150,000 up to $400,000, depending on how you ask the question.
Wow, that's a massive range.
It is. And this huge discrepancy, it just highlights how many complex factors influence crypto prices. You've got institutional adoption, technical support levels, the whole post-halving cycle.
So like it's a halving effect.
Exactly. Plus geopolitics, even U.S. financial strategy. It's a really, really complex landscape to predict.
Okay, finally today, let's switch over to sports. There's a significant new development in the NFL, the U.S. Professional Football League.
Yes, there is. They've officially banned the use of aromatic salts. You know, those ammonia inhalants some players use?
Oh, yeah, the smelling salts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So effective for this upcoming 2025 season, players can no longer use them during games or before games or even at halftime.
And what's the main reason behind the ban?
It really comes down to safety. These ammonia inhalants, they give you that immediate jolt, right, by irritating the nasal passages. But the FDA and the league's own medical committee raised concerns that they could potentially mask symptoms of neurological problems.
Like concussions, for instance. So a player might feel suddenly alert but could actually be suffering an injury and not realize it.
Precisely. That's the major concern. And the ban is total, doesn't matter how they're packaged or anything like that.
I bet that's drawn some reactions.
It certainly has. You've got players like George Kittle, the San Francisco 49ers tight end, expressing frustration. He called it kind of a blow to the league's culture.
Yeah, I can see that, given how common they seem to be.
Well, they were very common, yeah. But, you know, this move, it does align with other safety changes the NFL has been making recently, like the new kickoff rule or the increased use of replay for potentially dangerous plays. It's part of that ongoing evolution.
It really is that perennial debate, isn't it? Tradition versus player safety.
Exactly that. Always a balancing act.
Until next time.